just finishing this wonderful book called A Long Way Gone by Ismael Bach. It's a true story based off the author, Ismael Bach, at an early age in his childhood. He was about my age when he lost his family to some rebels in his home country, Serra Leon. Let's go off to Sophia and Eva for some information about the history of Serra Leon.
The Serra Leon River was a natural harbor at the mouth of where modern-day Freetown stands. It is one of the places where slaving ships of the European nations regularly put into trade. It was also the site selected by British abolishment for an experiment in philanthropy.
In the 1780s, the number of free slaves began to grow. The question arose, when was the best place for them to live and be employed? Granville Sharp came up with the idea that they should settle where their ancestors were from.
After making an agreement with the local chief of the Tinanim tribe, they were given 20 miles of hilly coasts that were sealed for that purpose. By 1787, a naval vessel carrying 331 freed slaves and 60 white London prostitutes were brought to this land. The experiment started, but it was disastrous.
Half the settlers died within the first year. The remaining freed slaves asked for a new life. Working for local slave traders, the king's successor then decided to burn the settlement in 1789, but is then rebuilt to the little farther away.
The new settlement becomes secure with the British government after abolishing the slave trade in 1807. They took responsibility for Serra Leone, and by 1808 they had built a base in the campaign against slaving ships.
During the 19th century, the territory around Freetown remained very small. By 1890, frontiers agreed with the French Guinea and independent Liberia and South. In 1896, British declared a proctorate over the entire region within these frontier years.
The imposition of a proctorate enraged many of the island chiefs who had no say. It led to an uprising in 1890. In the long term, the chiefs retained much of their local authority. Under the overall British administration after World War II, the idea of eternal self-government was introduced in 1951. In 1961, Serra Leone became an independent state within the Commonwealth.
The few years of Democrat ended with the election of 1967 under the opposition party of Sika Stevens. From the point forward, Serra Leone declined into a long era of repressive rule, military coups, and by the end of a century, a terrifying and violent archery.
Sika Stevens remained in control of 18 years by dismantling the country's checks and the abuses of power. Serra Leone went from a republic in 1971 to a one-party state, increasing the high levels of corruption by 1978.
In 1985, Stevens retired and nominated Josh Momo as his successor. Corruption and economic decay continued into a coup topples Momo in 1992. The result is a military council led by a 29-year-old captain named Valentine.
Serra Leone's problems were compounded by a revolutionary force called the RUF, which stands for Revolutionary United Front. From 1991, the RUF was led by Fonde Shenko, who launched attacks from bases in Liberia against the southern regions of Sierra Leone. Stress tried to cope with the steady advances of the guerrillas, but found himself falling into another military coup.
By 1996, the new military honors his existing plan for imminent elections. They are held in February in Kilvin. Amid Kaba becomes president, the Huta hands power over to a fashionably order. By a year later, Kaba was removed from office in a third military coup. The leader of this occasion was Johnny Korma, declared himself head of state.
Neighboring nations led by Niagara decide to take a hand and help. Troops arrived to restore Kaba, the elected president, but by this time, Sierra Leone was sinking into a violent anarchy. Thugs supported the two rebel leaders, Shanako and Koroma, wielding machetes to sever limbs.
By June of 1997, Koroma and Soko became good partners, but subsequent events brought very rapid changes. In February of 1988, Nigeria forces Koroma from Freetown and reinstate in the legitimate president Ahmed Kabu. In January of 1999, Sekua and the Rough drive Kaba once again from his capital city. The civil war between the factions continues elsewhere in the country.
In July of 1999, Kaba and Shanako reached a controversial peace agreement in Loma at capital of Togo, putting a place for a shared government. In October of 1999, the two rebel leaders arrived together in Freetown and surprised the entire world by apologizing for the atrocities committed during the 8 years of civil war and asked for forgiveness.
Their performance wasn't 100% convincing, but the world was eager for peace during 2001. Over 60% of countries remained in the hands of brutal Rough. All over the diamonds in Africa in 2002, there was an international peacekeeping force of 17,500 troops in Sierra Leone. In June, the new peace treaty was signed between President Kaba and the rebel forces. That was declared over a general election was planned.
Today, Sierra Leone is under the rule of President Paulo Bingora. Now, they're trying to return to a peaceful rule.
Thank you for that, girls. As you can see, Sierra Leone has had a rough history. The book takes place in the 1990s during the height of the war. Powers was being thrown around left and right. At points, it was very hard to realize who was really in power. The story begins with when Ismael was 10 years old, 2 years before the Civil War hit his home village. Ismael knows that there is a war going on, but he doesn't fully understand it, as most kids don't. He was really into rap music and traveled to different villages to perform with some close friends, including his brother, Junior. His parents weren't together, and the two boys didn't go to school. He was a very happy boy, honestly, but after war hit his hometown, everything changed. War hit him personally when it took his mother, father, and brother. Ismael became a new person. He ended up joining the war as a last result, trying to escape. That was when everything changed. He started doing drugs, including something called brown, which was cocaine and heroin mixed with gunpowder. He began killing people in the name of war. After the war, he moved to the States, where memories and nightmares still haunt him today. He got an education and wrote his experiences down in this book. Today, Serra Leon has recovered for the most part, and it's a new blooming country. Let's go to the art corner with Eva to help us do some art.
Thanks, Bella. This book is actually something I find very inspiring. Today we are making glimper art around Ismael in the war. You need paper, paintbrush, paint, and some newspaper. Then you spread glue all over the paper and rip up the newspaper and spread it all over the picture. Then you take your paintbrush and spread red paper in blotches all over the paper. Then let that dry. Finally, you spray tiny bits of black in the cracks of the newspaper. Last but not least, you rip off as much of the newspaper as you can without running your paper. Then you paint the images of Ismael. Ismael running from a village after they took their shoes. Then go over as much as you want, bringing out the detail. Let it dry, and there you go. You have a glimper art. Hi guys, thanks for watching the Bella, Eva, and Sophia show. Remember to show this with your family and friends and comment below. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. We love you all.